everyone, I'm Dana Levenson. Welcome to the Dales Report. We are being joined again by CEO of OjO, Max Smith. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Last time you were here, we were talking about your company, OjO, and that you had just had your RTO.
Yes.
And that's very exciting.
Yes, it is.
And we talked a lot about OjO and the company and the background behind the company, but we didn't talk about you.
Because the company is much more exciting.
You may think that, but I've done a lot of reading on Max Smith, the CEO, the entrepreneur, and having 8 exit businesses is very impressive. Tell me a little bit about that.
The key is to be in the right place at the right time and have a lot of luck. But in most of those instances, I think we were really leveraging technology to disrupt a process, to do something better, to do it in an interesting way, to create a new marketplace. And I think in much the same way, that theme continues here with OjO. Whereas scooters have been around a long time, but they had not necessarily been used to disrupt the car. And so that's really what I look forward to. I mean, I look for opportunities where there's a big marketplace, a big addressable market, and sort of a product that I really believe in. It's got to be really part of me so I can become just involved in it and that excited about it.
So that was my next question. So obviously your heart is completely in this product. You believe in an electric scooter because you feel that it is going to change the way people commute and transportation across major cities in North America and Europe.
Yeah, I do. So I think this is a new form factor that really improves the quality of life in urban areas. And that, the urbanization globally continues, right? 55% of the people living in urban areas. And so that's important, right? Climate change is important. City congestion is important. Making those sort of improvements is something that I feel passionate about. So stumbling across an incredible product and then sort of morphing it and creating the software background, the mobile app, and integrating that for sustainable transportation is really exciting. I can say of anything that I've done in the past, I've never seen a bigger market opportunity to disrupt and add value.
Can we talk about the sustainability above this? I think it's really important to talk about how environmentally sound this product is and what goes into this product and how much it's bringing back when we talk about being environmentally friendly. Let's talk about its sustainability.
Sure. So it was really created for retail. We talked about that the last time. Moving into sustainability, it's really presenting safe transportation options where you only pay for it when you use it. And so that's the sharing economy, whether it was Airbnb or Uber or Lyft or people using other vehicles or homes to share, that's sustainable. And we've built a product that lasts a long time and can be used by many people, and sort of that marketplace, those dynamics really create market forces to deliver great services.
So ride sharing is exploding. We know that it is one of the fastest growing industries. And we were talking a little bit before when you joined us here in studio about the idea of Uber and the food industry right now. And so maybe you could talk about that right now. That's emerging as well in the market.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit, and it's a different business. Now, we happen to have a scooter today that actually really lends itself to food delivery. Because of the product, the seat, the range, you can go 50 miles. We have people in the food delivery business that use it and travel 50 miles a day, 60 miles a day, 70 miles a day. They need a spare battery to go that distance.
Wow.
But the average, the delivery people are making more trips, more tips, and actually enjoying themselves. And then we see parcels as well. So we move people, but we can deliver food, parcels, packages, whether it's deliveries for Amazon or Whole Foods or other opportunities. Those are opportunities we think that we can go after. And we think that that's an opportunity that's explosive. So it's not only the movement of people, but doing those deliveries using a vehicle like OjO, which is in the bike lane, that also reduces congestion. That also improves the quality of life in city. And that also gets sort of the fossil burning cars off the streets.
The CEO of Uber was quoted saying, "We need to deconstruct the car."
Yes.
What do you make of that?
I agree. And I think Dara also said that he expected bikes and scooters and other forms to have a significant portion of their rides in the near future. So we happen to agree with all those things. I think You'll see multimodal opportunities in the future where today we have one type of scooter, but you're going to use different types of scooters to do different types of things in the future. And I think that's you're going to have a whole product suite to sort of cater to all of the city's needs as well as delivery needs.
And it's not just millennials. We were talking about that. Millennials, of course, that's the future, but we see that it's a different parts of society and different generations want to be environmentally sound. They want to take part. They want to do their share in making the world better.
Right.
And this is one step towards that.
No, right. No, this is not for millennials.
That's
Millennials
right.
use it absolutely 100% because it's fun and it's enjoyable and it gets them to where they need to go safely and in a fun way. But our founders, Don Ratner, Alan Shapiro, Dale Seiden, 69, 61,
Yeah,
61.
I saw they were.
So they designed this for themselves. And they wanted a vehicle that they could ride around the desert that wasn't an e-bike, that was really accessible, and that they could cover a great deal of distance. So it was created, with that in mind for those people. So it's really a large addressable market.
So the cities that are hesitant right now, municipalities that are saying, you know what, we don't have the infrastructure, we can't even forward think that we could even see OjO in our cities. How do you go about that, or what is the plan to get around that kind of thinking?
It requires time. And so that's why Europe is important. We're talking to people in Europe. There's a much greater scooter culture, motorcycle culture, bike lanes and infrastructure. In many cases, the cities want them here. They want to make those changes, but haven't made the necessary investment in infrastructure. They may not have the right bike lane infrastructure. So we have to work with those cities over time and create opportunities for them. And they may not have bike lanes, but we can show there's enough room on the road and we can throttle speed back to where we all think it's safe.
So what's the rollout? Where do you see the next cities?
We're talking to other cities in the state of Texas, expanding on that area. We're in discussions with Washington, D.C., with Seattle, with Portland. These are cities that all have, actually most of them have scooters, some do not. Seattle doesn't have it yet, so they're just dipping their toe in the water and understanding, learning from the other cities what works and what doesn't work. And we think we've got really high grades from all the cities in which we operate. We've got great relationships with city council and mayors and the directors of transportation, and that's what will help us sort of move into other cities.
It makes so much sense when we talk about an electric scooter, ride sharing, it makes sense. So how long do you think it'll be before we see this in every major city in North America? What's your vision on that?
Yeah, no, it's a big market, and there are markets, you don't always need scale to make it work. It's great to address those large cities, but it works on college campuses. It works in other areas that are where you've got a lot of people who need to get to place and don't want to spend all the money on the car. The average cost of the car in the U.S. is $9,500, and I don't think that includes your gas costs as well. So this is a form of transportation where you only pay for it when you need, and that happens in the car industry as well, where there was Zipcar or there are other forms of transportation where you could rent just about anything you want. You can rent these days, by the minute, through an app, and that's just what's evolved over the past several years.
And if you think about that, when you say the Zipcar and an app and ride sharing, if we would have had this conversation a few years ago, it would have seemed as a concept as far away as possible. Like a lot of people could not wrap their head around this. But this conversation, to me, feels like we will have our next conversation much sooner than we both think. That's how it feels.
Yeah, it's moving really fast, and it's moving on a global basis where
Yeah.
companies very quickly are deploying it. And it's interesting, the very first pitch deck that I saw from the founders 5 years ago when they were designing the company, they had rideshare in it. They designed it for a retail sale first. The irony is, in designing it for retail, there was a much higher bar to go through from a quality perspective to sell in Europe, to sell on a global basis and get certain certifications. So when it came time to launch rideshare, every vehicle of ours has a VIN number. These are vehicles, they're not toys. So what will be next? We've got a product roadmap with a lot of other different features and forms of electric scooter. So I think in the very near future you'll see another form.
Before we wrap up this wonderful interview, maybe you can tell us what is that logo or that slogan that you've been saying, which I think is amazing.
Where Tesla meets Vespa.
Vespa meets Tesla, either one. I love it.
I
love it.
I didn't coin the phrase, but it appeared in other headlines, and we're flattered to have those comparisons.
It's wonderful, and I'm flattered that you spoke to me for so long. It was wonderful to meet with you, Max.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for joining us here on the Dales Report.
Great.